I was sitting at the kitchen counter, nursing a black coffee I didn't really need. Saturday mornings were quiet now that Bianca was finding herself on some all-girls trip to Tulum or wherever they said they were going. I didn't pry, never had to. Or maybe I should have. The sun was barely cutting through the blinds when my phone buzzed. Bianca posted a new photo. Out of habit, I tapped it. I didn't expect much. A beach photo, maybe a brunch table covered in mimosas and fruit plates. That's what these trips were. Filtered candids of carefree smiles. But this one, she was in a red bikini I'd never seen before. One hand on her hip, sunglasses lowered just enough to give the camera that seductive stare she used when she wanted something. The caption read, "My body. My choice #freedom #girls weekend." But it wasn't the caption that caught me. It was the reflection in her sunglasses. A man's arm, a tattoo I'd seen before. On her ex, Hugo. A snake curling around a dagger. It was faint, distorted in the reflection, but I knew what I was looking at. I zoomed in. Behind her, slightly out of focus, was the rest of him. Reclined, shirtless, lounging on a private cabana daybed, with her. She'd cropped it perfectly, but she missed the shadow. His hand was on her lower back, just out of frame. I set the phone down hard. Not enough to break it, just enough to feel something. The coffee had gone cold. My first reaction wasn't yelling or pacing or texting her in all caps. I just sat there, let it simmer. This wasn't a surprise. Not really. The signs had been there. How distant she'd become, how her phone was suddenly face down all the time. But I'd ignored them, trusted her. That was on me. What mattered now was what I'd do next. I stood, walked down the hall and opened our shared closet. Half the drawers were hers. Designer dresses I'd bought on sale, yoga gear she rarely used, heels for dinners she barely appreciated. I opened my laptop and pulled up our shared travel app. Her return flight, tomorrow, 10:20 a.m. Delta, non-stop. Click, canceled. Click, refunded my card. Next, I changed the code on the smart lock. Then the backup one. She had no key, just her code. Not anymore. I pulled out a suitcase from under the bed. Hers. It still had the old airport tag on it. I laid it flat and started filling it. No anger in my motions, just purpose. Fold, stack, zip. I wasn't going to scream at her. I wasn't going to give her a scene. She made a decision. Now she'd see what that cost. I slid her makeup kit into the outer pouch, then her Kindle, the one I got her for Christmas. She could read The Alchemist or whatever spiritual nonsense she was into while figuring out how to get back to LA. She wouldn't find my name waiting for her at the terminal. Just a canceled ticket and a dead code at the front door. I poured the cold coffee down the sink and grabbed my car keys. Before leaving, I unplugged her ring light and packed it with the rest of her junk. If she was going to build her perfect online world, she could do it somewhere else. As I pulled out of the driveway, I passed our neighbor's house. Greg was watering his lawn like always, baseball cap low, minding his own business. He nodded at me. I nodded back. Neither of us said a word. And that silence felt like the loudest power move I'd ever made. The apartment smelled like lavender and deceit. Her diffuser was still running, spitting out that fake spa scent she loved. I unplugged it. No hesitation. Just one less thing filling my space with lies. I had the whole day ahead of me and nothing urgent to do, except box up the last 5 years of my life and send it out with the trash. I opened the hall closet and pulled down the moving boxes I'd kept. Just in case. Some part of me must have known. You don't hold on to boxes unless you expect something to break. Her side of the bedroom was chaos dressed as order. Color-coded hangers, shelf organizers, shoe boxes stacked like little monuments to ego. None of it impressed me anymore. Every item I picked up felt like proof she never planned to stay. I didn't throw anything. Didn't smash perfume bottles or cut up clothes. That's a drama. That's a weakness. I folded everything. Sweaters, leggings, lingerie she hadn't worn for me in months. Every item was a memory I didn't want. One box filled. Then another. I moved on to the bathroom. She had a whole drawer dedicated to hair tools. Flat irons, curlers, expensive creams and serums she claimed were investments. I packed them all into a clear bin, taped it shut. The weight felt good in my hands, like I was lifting off the last of her. When I got to her bookshelf, I paused. Attached, Women Who Run with the Wolves, You Are a Goddess. I cracked one open. Inside was a note I'd written her years ago. You make me believe in more than just work and sleep. I tossed it in the trash. At noon, I sat on the couch and stared out the window. She'd be waking up soon, if she hadn't already. Probably sipping a cocktail, wearing that red bikini, pretending she was empowered while her ex rubbed sunscreen on her back. Let her have it. I opened my phone and typed a message to Valentina, Bianca's younger sister. Hey Val, you free for dinner tonight? Would love to catch up. My treat. I didn't mention Bianca. Not yet. I wanted to talk to Val face to face. She didn't know what her sister had done, but she deserved to. Valentina was one of the few people in Bianca's orbit who never treated me like I was just the stable guy. She actually listened when I talked, asked how my work was going, brought wine over on movie nights. She had a good heart, a rare thing in that family. The reply came a few minutes later. Sure. 7 okay. What Italian place do you like? Perfect. See you then. I left the apartment around 5 and took the boxes down to my truck. Every trip felt lighter than the last. I set the last one in the bed and closed the tailgate. The place already felt better. Quiet. Clean. Mine again. I stopped by a local storage unit, paid for 2 months up front, and dropped off her stuff. I texted her the address with a one-line message. Your things are at Northline Storage. Unit 14. Code 1137. Get them by Friday. No hello. No emotion. Just facts. On the drive to the restaurant, I rolled down the windows and let the wind hit my face. It didn't erase the betrayal, but it reminded me I was still standing, still driving my truck, still in control. Bianca could play house with Hugo or whoever she wanted, but not on my dime, not in my home. When I pulled into the lot, Valentina was already there, waiting outside in a sundress, sipping iced tea. She waved when she saw me, that same genuine smile she'd always had. I smiled back, not because I felt joy, but because I knew something she didn't. And tonight, she was going to learn exactly what kind of sister she'd been defending all these years. Valentina always had this easy, open energy, like she could brighten a funeral with a joke and mean it. She hugged me when I walked up, cheerful and unaware. Ray, you look good. Been hitting the gym again? She teased, grabbing my arm playfully. I smiled politely, just taking care of what's mine. We got a corner booth, the kind where the candlelight does half the work of intimacy. She ordered wine. I was stuck in the water. So, she said, crossing her arms on the table. What's up? You sounded chill. Like, too chill. I'm fine, I said. Really, I just figured we should catch up. Lots changed lately. She nodded. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask how things are with you and B. She barely texts me anymore. Must be the resort Wi-Fi, right? That was my cue. I took out my phone, pulled up the Instagram post and handed it to her. She gave me that confused smile people make when they're about to get sucker punched by the truth. She read the caption first. Okay. Typical Bianca. My body, my choice. She always posts stuff like this. So, look again, I said, voice calm. She zoomed in, tilted the phone. Her brows furrowed. Then her mouth opened slightly. Her eyes found the reflection in the glasses, the hand, the tattoo. She looked up. Is that Hugo? Yep. But she told me it was a girl's trip. I nodded. She told me the same thing. She leaned back, holding the phone like it might burn her. Jesus Christ. She's been with him all week. I canceled her flight, changed the locks, packed her stuff. It's in storage. I'm done. Valentina stared at me, like she couldn't quite process how composed I was, like she expected shouting, maybe a tear or two. Instead, she got clarity. I had no idea, Ray. I swear, she said quietly. She lied to me too. I know, I said. That's why I'm telling you first. You're the only one in her family who ever treated me like a person. Her eyes welled, but she held it back. Respect, not a weakness. She's gonna freak out, she said. You know that, right? She can scream at the wind for all I care. I'm not picking up. Good, Valentina said, and there was steel in her voice this time. You deserve better. Way better. We sat there for a few beats in silence. She was flipping through her phone now, looking at older posts Bianca had made. Ones I hadn't even noticed. One was tagged at a restaurant in Cancun, not Tulum like she said. Another showed a hand holding her waist that definitely wasn't mine. Valentina shook her head. She really thought she could play everyone. She's about to learn what it feels like to lose the one guy who had her back. We ordered dinner, but the mood had shifted. Less catching up, more quiet processing. Halfway through her pasta, Valentina checked her phone and chuckled. She just posted a story. Yoga on the beach with some Finding Peace quote. She's clueless. I leaned back. She'll find reality when she gets to the airport. Valentina stared at me for a moment. Ray, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I've never seen you like this. Calm, cold, controlled. That's how men win, Val. Not with yelling, with action. She nodded slowly. You're right. By the time dessert came, my phone buzzed again. Bianca, for missed calls. Then a text. Hey babe, just checking in. Everything okay? Wi-Fi's been spotty, lol. Love you. I showed it to Valentina. She exhaled hard through her nose. Unreal. I didn't respond. Just locked the screen and slid it back into my pocket. She's not even aware she's exposed yet, I said. She will be, Valentina murmured. And in that booth, under that dim light, something shifted between us. Not romantic, just real. Respect earned, not demanded. She saw what I was made of. And Bianca, whether she liked it or not, was about to see it too. She finally called while I was brushing my teeth. The phone lit up on the sink. Bianca Mobile, incoming call. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I answered. Not because I owed her anything, but because I wanted to hear the sound of her panic. Ray? She said, her voice coated in forced sweetness. Hey, babe. Finally. I've been trying to reach you for hours. I said nothing. Just let the silence stretch. She hesitated. I'm at the airport. Something's wrong. My flight isn't showing up on the app. I can't find it. Did you get an email about it or something? Yeah, I said finally. I canceled it. Silence. You? What? I canceled your return flight. Changed the locks too. Your stuff is in storage. Codes in your messages. You'll find it if you scroll past all the lies. She scoffed. Wait, are you serious right now? Dead serious. You can't just, Raymond, what the hell is going on? Why are you acting like this? I could practically hear her trying to steady her voice, like she was still on stage somewhere, playing the victim. But the theater was empty now. Curtains closed. You lied to me, I said, slow and steady, about where you were, who you were with. You posted a photo of yourself wrapped around your ex like the internet was blind. She was quiet for a second, then laughed nervously. Oh my God. Is that what this is about? You're freaking out over a picture? Hugo was just there for a few days. He's friends with one of the girls, Marcy, I think. It wasn't a big deal. You told me it was a girls' trip, I said. You told Valentina that too. Well, I mean, plans changed. I didn't think I needed to give you an itinerary. And yet you gave Hugo your body and gave me radio silence. That's not fair, she snapped, finally dropping the soft act. You're overreacting. You always do this when I try to have a life that doesn't revolve around you. I smiled. There it was. The deflection, the projection, the desperate attempt to spin the story before it slipped out of her hands completely. I worked 60 hours a week to support the roof you lied under, I said calmly. Paid for your trips, bought your yoga classes, let you live rent-free so you could find yourself. And you found Hugo. She fell silent again. You made your choice, I added. Now you can live with it. I'm stranded at the airport, Raymond. Like, are you seriously just abandoning me here? Not abandoning, I said. Just letting you stand on your own 2 feet. Something you've always claimed you wanted. She went quiet again. Then her voice came back, lower, angrier. Wow, you're really doing this. After everything I've put into this relationship. You put on makeup and posted quotes. I built the foundation. Oh, get over yourself. I did, I said. About 5 hours ago. There was a long pause. I thought she might hang up. Instead, she tried one more play. Ray, please, just let me come home and talk. We'll sort this out. I'll explain everything. I'm done with explanations, I said. And you're done living in my house. She exhaled hard, like a kettle just before the whistle. You are a cold, bitter man. No, I said. I'm just finally done being played. I ended the call. A few seconds later, the phone vibrated again. Valentina. Just got a bunch of texts from Bianca. She's spiraling. Said you blindsided her. I replied. She lied. I acted. That's called cause and effect. Valentina's response came with a single emoji. I turned the ringer off, set the phone on the dresser, and looked in the mirror. My face was calm. My jaw set. No storm. Just silence and the peace that comes after a decision is made. This wasn't just the end of a relationship. It was the start of something I hadn't felt in years. Control. The next morning, I was fixing a loose cabinet hinge in the kitchen when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Raymond? This is Claudia, Bianca's mother. I paused, stood upright, wiped my hands on a dish towel. Yes, ma'am. I just got off the phone with Bianca. She's at some hotel in Cancun, crying, saying you threw her out and left her stranded. What happened? I could hear the edge in her voice. Not anger. Not yet. More like confusion mixed with maternal concern. She'd always liked me in that formal kind of way. I was the safe choice, the dependable one, her daughter's mature phase. I pulled the stool out from under the counter and sat. I didn't throw her out, Claudia, I said calmly. I ended a lie. She told me she was on a girls-only trip. She posted a photo with Hugo, in a bikini I never saw on a beach she never told me about, with a man she swore she was done with. Silence. Then a long, slow sigh. Oh no, she muttered. I canceled her flight and put her things in storage. I added. That's not abandonment. That's the boundaries. There was another pause, a heavier one this time. She lied to me too, Claudia said, her voice softer now. Said it was a yoga retreat. Send me sunrise pictures. I thought, God, I thought she was finally grounding herself. She was grounding herself on Hugo's chest. A bitter chuckle escaped her. You're not wrong. I heard a rustling in the background. Maybe her pacing, maybe her fiddling with something to calm her nerves. I want you to know, she said slowly, that I'm not calling to guilt you or beg you to take her back. I just needed to know the truth. I figured as much, I said. You deserve it. I always liked you, Raymond, she said. And for once, it didn't sound rehearsed. Even when Bianca said you were too boring, too practical. I thought, good. Boring means stability, means safe, means she won't end up chasing drama like she always does. She chased it anyway. Of course she did. Another pause, longer this time. Then she said, I told her not to call me until she's ready to grow the hell up. I didn't expect that. She's your daughter. Yes, she said. And I'm tired of her embarrassing this family. For a second, I wasn't sure what to say. Then I just said what I felt. Thank you, Claudia. I didn't expect you to call, but I'm glad you did. I'm sorry you had to find out that way. You deserved better. I ended the call a few minutes later, polite and measured. No drama, no anger left to spend, just clarity. An hour later, Valentina stopped by. She had coffee in one hand and a small tote bag in the other. I figured you could use this more than she could, she said, tossing the bag on the couch. Inside was a mug Bianca had custom made years ago. It read, World's most patient boyfriend. I smirked. Yeah, that didn't age well. Valentina flopped down in the armchair. Mom's furious. Not at you. Her. She called me after talking to you. Said she's done playing emotional janitor for Bianca's messes. She mean it. She's already telling the family not to invite Bianca to the reunion next month. First time I've ever heard Mom use the word consequences without sounding sarcastic. We sat for a while, sipping coffee in a silence that felt earned, not awkward. Then Valentina said, "You know what I realized?" "What's that?" "You handled this like a man, not like a jerk, not like a pushover. You didn't yell or post angry rants online. You just cut her off and moved on. That's a strength most people don't have." I nodded once, took another sip. "I don't need her to suffer," I said. "But I'm not going to protect her from the fallout either." "You shouldn't," she said. "Let her live in the world she built." Bianca had spent years crafting an identity made of hashtags, filtered photos, and self-help slogans. But the truth didn't need editing. It just needed time. And now, even her own family was done giving her a soft place to land. The first post showed up 2 days later. A blurry photo of us at a wedding years ago. Her in a pale pink dress. Me in a black suit with my hand on her waist. Captioned, "People change. Some are faster than others. Emotional abuse isn't always loud." Hashtag after hashtag. Hashtag healing, hashtag toxic love, hashtag gaslighting survivor. I stared at the screen for a moment. Then I turned it off and made eggs. The second post came hours later. A black and white selfie with fake tears glistening on her cheeks. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away, especially when someone you trusted turns cold and cruel. I never wanted it to be like this. Her followers, most of them strangers from book clubs and beach yoga groups, swarmed to comfort her. "You're so strong. We believe you. Men never know what they have until it's gone." She was rewriting the script, and I didn't say a word. Instead, I forwarded the screenshots to Valentina and Claudia. Both replied the same way. "Valentina, she's spiraling. Let her dig the hole." Claudia, "I raised a daughter, not a martyr. Keep the receipts." By the end of the week, Bianca posted a 10-frame Instagram story, her voice cracking as she accused me of withholding affection, of controlling behavior, and mental manipulation. She made it sound like I was some cold-blooded tyrant who gaslit her for years. She left out the part where I paid her rent, supported her dreams, and never once cheated, while she dry-humped her ex on a beach and tagged it #freedom. I didn't need to defend myself. People did it for me. A mutual friend posted a screenshot of the infamous bikini photo, zoomed in on Hugo's tattoo, side by side with a shot of him shirtless from a prior post on his profile. No denial possible. Then someone posted an old comment Bianca left on Hugo's page months ago. "Wish I could rewind time to us." It snowballed. The same followers who praised her strength started backtracking. One asked, "Wait, wasn't this supposed to be a girls' trip?" Another commented, "This doesn't add up." Then came the silence, worse than hate. No defense, just the online equivalent of walking away. She deleted all the smear posts within 48 hours. Too late. The screenshots were already out there. The truth didn't need a spotlight, it just needed patience. Meanwhile, I was still working, still lifting, still showing up to the job site with dirt on my boots and peace in my chest. One afternoon at the hardware store, an old friend from college, Marcus, caught me in the plumbing aisle. "Hey man," he said, shaking his head. "Been following that whole mess online. Are you good?" I nodded. "Better than ever." He slapped my shoulder. "You handled that like a damn boss. If it were me, I'd have gone scorched earth." I shrugged. "Fire burns out. I prefer long-term consequences." We both laughed. I walked out of the store with a new wrench and a clear head. Bianca's final move in the campaign was a podcast interview on some nobody's healing show. She tried to play the therapist-victim hybrid, claiming she had endured passive aggression and silent manipulation. The host asked for specifics. She stammered, said things like energy shifts and tone of voice. People saw through it. The comments turned brutal. Not hateful, just disappointed. "We believed in you. Thought you were being honest. This feels like a performance. The podcast episode was taken down in 3 days. Back in my apartment, I lit a cigar on the balcony. Something I hadn't done in years. Just sat in the quiet, watching the smoke curl into the late-night sky. Her words were gone, but the silence stayed. And for once, it was mine. It started with a chargeback. I got an email from my credit card company about a $3,200 transaction dispute. Someone had tried to reverse a resort bill in Cancun, claiming unauthorized use. Only problem? The name on the receipt wasn't mine. It was Hugo's. Bianca had apparently used his card to book the suite, the one they flaunted in her now-deleted Instagram stories. But when things went south, she flipped the script and reported it as fraudulent, likely thinking she could stick Hugo with the bill and walk away clean. She didn't know Hugo had already filed a report against her. Claudia called me that evening. Her voice was low, tense. "Raymond, Bianca's been arrested. In Cancun." I sat back in my chair. Let that sink in. For what? Credit card fraud. Hugo filed charges. She's being held for questioning. I didn't smile, didn't laugh, just exhaled slowly, the weight of inevitability settling across my chest like bricks clicking into place. "Did she call you?" I asked. "She tried." I didn't answer. Valentina called me 10 minutes later, almost out of breath. "She actually tried to blame it on you," she said. "Said you set her up, convinced Hugo to trap her." "Can you believe that?" "Yeah," I said. "I can." Bianca had always been the type to point fingers before looking in a mirror. But now there was nowhere to point. The fallout hit fast. She was forced to resign from her job at the wellness company she freelanced for. Turns out, they didn't want someone under international fraud investigation on their lifestyle brand. Her influencer deal with a skincare startup vanished overnight. Their PR team quietly removed her face from their website within 48 hours. Her apartment lease wasn't renewed. Her social media locked down, then wiped. Bianca, queen of curated chaos, had lost the one thing she couldn't replace with a filter: credibility. Meanwhile, I was finishing up a patio renovation project for a client who paid cash and tipped in whiskey. My crew joked that I was glowing. I told them it was just sawdust and fresh air. One night, Greg, the neighbor, caught me outside unloading lumber. "Hey," he said, adjusting his cap. "Saw the girl's name on the news blurbs. Credit card scam." "Huh?" I nodded. "Not my circus anymore." He chuckled. "Damn right." That weekend, I stopped by Valentina's place to drop off a box of old photos. Memories she might still want from the good years before things turned rotten. She opened the door, wearing a hoodie and tired eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "She texted me from some burner number," she said before I even stepped in, still blaming everyone but herself. "Let her," I said. "Every time she talks, she loses more ground." We sat in her kitchen with coffee and silence. "She ruined herself, Ray. You didn't lift a finger." "I didn't have to," I said. "Truth has its own gravity." All I did was stop holding her up. She leaned across the table, looking at me differently now. Not like Bianca's ex, but like a man who came through hell without screaming. "You know," she said, "I used to think you were too quiet, too serious, like you were always holding something back." "I was," I said. "My breaking point." We clinked coffee mugs. Outside, the sun was setting. Inside, it was already over. There's something sacred about silence when it isn't forced on you. Not the awkward kind, not the kind you sit in after a fight, but the real kind. The kind you choose. The kind you earn. That's what my apartment feels like now. No diffuser humming. No makeup scattered on the sink. No 20-minute voice memos about vibes and expectations. Just the hum of the fridge and the low whir of the ceiling fan. I could breathe. It had been 3 weeks since Bianca's collapse hit rock bottom. No updates from her, no texts, no voicemails. Valentina told me she moved back in with their aunt in Arizona for a reset. Claudia sent one last message saying, "Thank you for your patience and for your restraint." I didn't reply, didn't need to. The war was over. and I hadn't even fired a shot. I'd been pouring my energy into the things that never lied to me. My work, my hands, the wood. There's an honesty in building something with a hammer that you don't get in filtered photos or fake apologies. Last weekend, I refinished the balcony, tore up the old planks Bianca said looked too rough, and replaced them with dark cedar, sealed, clean and bold. It smelled like rain and sweat and ownership. I stood out there that evening with a glass of whiskey and no company, and I didn't feel lonely. I felt free. The next morning, I drove to the animal shelter just to look. I told myself I wasn't planning on adopting yet. I just wanted to see. But there was this mutt. Big brown eyes. German Shepherd mix. Quiet in the corner while every other dog barked for attention. He looked up at me like we already understood each other. I brought him home that afternoon. Named him Diesel. He doesn't talk much, but he listens better than most people I've known. We go on long walks now. No earbuds, no calls. Just boots on pavement and a dog that doesn't ask questions. Valentina stopped by once or twice since. Not for drama, not for gossip. Just to sit on the new balcony and drink coffee. We talked about work, family, whatever came up. "You really built yourself back," she said last time. "Like, better than before." "No," I said. "I just stripped off the dead weight." She smiled. "That's better than therapy." And maybe it was. I didn't journal. I didn't cry into a pillow. I didn't go find myself on a beach somewhere. I stayed here, showed up, worked hard, cut out the noise. And that made all the difference. Bianca still had some people fooled. I'm sure. She always would. People like stories with heroes and villains. She liked to be both when it suited her. But I wasn't part of her story anymore. I'd written my own. No revenge plots. No staged confrontations. Just quiet decisions made in full control. Ones that took her power away without me ever raising my voice. That's the kind of win nobody claps for. And that's the kind I wanted. 2 weeks of silence. Then one text. "Raymond, I need to talk. It's urgent." I didn't answer. An hour later, another. "I'm pregnant. It's yours." I stared at the screen like it was a prank. No greeting. No punctuation. Just pure desperation dressed up like importance. I set the phone down and walked Diesel. He deserved a longer walk today anyway. When I got back, the next message was waiting. "Please, I'm scared. I made mistakes. But this changes everything. You have a right to know." What she didn't know was that Valentina had already warned me. Bianca had said the same thing to Hugo 2 months ago. The same claim. Same timing. Only that time she said he was the father. That lie blew up fast when Hugo's lawyer demanded a test. She ghosted them for a week before admitting there was no pregnancy. Just panic. Now it was my turn. Except I didn't panic. I screenshotted the entire message chain and forwarded it to my attorney. He called me laughing. "Classic desperation tactic," he said. "She knows you're out of reach and she's playing the last card she has." "Is it actionable?" I asked. "As a threat? No. But if she keeps pushing it, maybe. Then let's not give her a stage." He agreed. We drafted a cease and desist letter. Calm, professional, bulletproof. No emotion, just boundaries. That same afternoon, I blocked her number and archived the thread. If she wanted to fake a pregnancy, she could tell it to someone still willing to sit through her performances. I wasn't in the audience anymore. A few days later, I got a call from Claudia again. "She tried it with me too," she said. "Told me she was carrying your child and you'd abandoned her. And I asked her to show me a test. She said she hadn't taken one yet. I told her to grow up." "Thank you." "She's not well, Ray," Claudia added quietly. "But that's not your problem anymore. And you handled it better than most men I know." Valentina texted me that night. She's back on social media, posting baby name lists. Still no bump, no proof. Just manipulation in high definition. I didn't look, didn't care. I had better things to focus on. Like the custom bench I was building for my porch, or Diesel's first vet visit, or sleeping through the night without waiting for drama to tap me on the shoulder. Bianca had always believed she could charm her way out of consequences. But the world has a long memory when receipts are digital and patience is a virtue. Her smear campaign failed. Her job was gone. Her family stopped shielding her. And now the pregnancy lies? That was her final act. A desperate whisper thrown into a windstorm, hoping someone, anyone, would catch it. But I didn't even flinch. I built a fence in the backyard the next day. Solid, level, tight. And when it was done, I stood with Diesel, looked out at the clean edge of my new space, and breathed deep. There were no threats left, no calls, no unfinished conversations, just me. And for the first time in years, that was enough.